One thing Flandre did really well was he was constantly first on the rotation to the Dragons, was always able to single someone out on the side of Vici from the fight and take him out very early.
Let's see if Flandre can have a similar performance as we head into game number 3 of the series. Vici Gaming winning out game number 2. They've got the momentum on their side and they were looking good. They were looking clean as they took that win. But LNG certainly not out of the running on this one. They have been heralded as one of our most creative teams here in the LPL. Duan bringing the Bard to the table, certainly going to be lending towards that fact.
So on the side of LNG, what we really want to look for is, again, they should have pressure in the mid and bot lane early on. It's about how can they bring Maple to kind of abuse this bot lane in iBoy and Hung, and then return that pressure with Duan with his tunnels to the mid lane, and really get heavy vision control on bot side and be able to set up these picks with the Bard ultimate, with the Scatter the Weak from the Syndra.
Scatter the Weak. One of those abilities that in most situations can be incredibly strong, especially if you use it after using the ultimate. You can stun up the entire team. It can quite often feel like an ultimate ability in of itself. We'll be keeping our eyes on Maple on how he's going to be able to affect the game with that one. But most importantly, I want to be looking towards the junglers here. We've got Ike's on the Olaf once again. Game number 1, he focused on getting up towards the top lane, ganking for Cube. This time with Cube on the Aatrox and Flandre on the Mordekaiser. Is that something that he can replicate?
When you're playing the Olaf, especially with Flandre now leashing, you wouldn't expect Flandre to be looking to heavily push in this lane. We already see that Olaf is pathing towards the bot side. Should just be looking to quickly get to that level 4, and that's when we'll see Ike start affecting the map.
One thing that has to be said about the Bard in this bottom side is, especially if you're running something a little bit more aggressive, sometimes you do see the electrocute on the Bard. Can have a lot of early game damage, can have a lot of burst. He's going to be going for the Guardian though, knows that he needs to have a little bit more defensive capability in these fights.
And this level 1 is what we would expect. Kalista having a very strong level 1, being able to pressure in most lanes. It won't be until Asura and Duan hit their level 3s where they can really start contesting and pushing back against this duo. And right there, we did already talk about the Glacial, really setting up for your kit, setting up for the jungle. And we see on the opposite side, Maple taking the phase rush, just making sure he isn't able to be kind of locked down and taken out in these fights early on.
Yeah, and it's good to see the phase rush coming out from the side of Maple as well. You can run things like the electrocute on the Syndra, but it can be a little bit hit or miss. And when we've seen Maple play recently, he's not the most aggressive player in the LPL. He's not the kind of guy that's typically looking for these 1v1s. So the phase rush is going to be much more efficient in a team.
Vici making a nice adaptation of playing super aggressive early in the bot lane, looking for this invade, but we see Duan and Asura expect this to come. They're hovering back, and they're letting XX be able to kind of farm safely.
Really nice answer from the side of LNG here. Duan going to find himself at Caretaker's Shrine, and that's one of the things that Bard is really going to offer, is a lot of sustain in the early phases of the laning phase. Dragon not going to be up for another minute and a half though, so both junglers going to be moving away now, back into their jungle. I think we actually saw XX moving up towards the top side here, trying to maybe impact this battle of the tanks.
True, and had we not seen Ike's go for that invade, he could have been approaching topside around this point, like we talked about the level 4, where Flandre would be expected to have his wave at Cube's turret. Another interesting thing to note on the map is that iBoy and Hung did opt into an early reset, got that longsword, and now should be looking to punish with that slight item advantage.
Also picking up boots as well, and you can see a very noticeable style here coming out from iBoy. Had the option to go for something like the Cull. We see it a lot out of AD carries in the early stages of the game when you do get an early recall off, but he wants damage, he wants mobility, he wants to be able to fight. Can be slowed by the Make It Rain. Duan going to try and follow up as well. No stun though, and iBoy survives.
Moving over to the side of LNG and how they want to play this game, you really want to use your push in your top lane, the mobility for Bard, and start looking for picks around the map with numbers advantage.
iBoy and Hung just stand on top of each other just as Duan comes in for a Cosmic Binding. No follow-up, but still just amusing to see them both get caught out in that way. Well, you can see Relatively slow start to things once again, but the Dragon is now on the map. And as you mentioned before, oh, Stun actually goes on to Dwan. Gets away with his life there. Obviously was recalling on a ward. And that's a greedy recall from him. It's actually going to punish him slightly. He's going to be late returning to the lane now.
True, Vici can turn towards this Dragon and start looking for it. They also do know that Maple isn't contesting the mid wave right now, so it does seem like LNG are just going to opt to not contest for this Drake.
Yeah, and obviously with their support in base, there's no way that they can realistically go for a fight here, and Ike's going to be happy to pick up a Mountain Drake early on into the game. And it's a good start for Vici Gaming. This is what we saw in game number 1 as well. We saw them aggressing early, looking for the dragons early. This time, they don't find a fight to secure it. This time, they just get it for free.
True, and I feel like both compositions really come online around the same point in the mid game, but it's all going to be about, we keep using this word, execution, especially on the side of LNG, when you have things like the Bard, very dependent on hitting that ultimate, so your Syndra can set up for that Scatter of the Week, so Asura can get, you know, a 3-4-man bullet time. But if you do miss those key abilities from LNG, Vici will just be able to get on top of you with the Ragnarok from the Olaf, with the Call of the Forge God for the Ornn. And we've already seen how this Taric works. 3 games in a row now. It's going to make iBoy and Forge very safe getting on top of LNG's carries.
And that's what we saw in game number 2, was Forge getting straight onto the likes of Asura. He really had a hard time trying to deal with the pressure coming out from the side of Forge. Ike's going to be spotted here by the Scryer's Bloom. Rift Herald not going to be on the map just yet. Still a minute until that's going to spot.
I also love that Flandre consistently goes for the very standard build on the Mordekaiser. We see here in the LPL a lot of players change it up. We've seen Nasher's first item before and things along this line, but he's going towards that Leandri's.
iBoy's in trouble. He's going to be exhausted as well as Asura. Did a really good job dishing out the damage onto the likes of this Kalista. No Vamp Scepter yet for iBoy, so he really has no sustain.
But still, Vici were able to force 2 summoner spells out from LNG, where they only had to use 1.
Go Cube, looking for the 1v1. Ike's is on his way up. I don't know if they can necessarily go for a dive here. Ike's going to be spotted out by the ward as well. XX is over on the top side too. Forge forced to use his shapeshifter as he takes a pretty heavy trade from the side of Maple. Maple's got reinforcements though. Dwan and Asura moving up towards this mid lane.
This is what we set up, that LNG want to use things like the Bard, start moving around the map, looking for the numbers advantage and finding picks. Bard, Syndra, these champions are about finding picks, kind of starting these 5v4s, 4v3s, and then being able to finish the fight from there.
I'd love to see LNG with a significant early lead in this series, because Vici have started both games off strong so far in this series. LNG won towards the mid-game, towards the later stages of the game in game number 1. Then Vici just completely controlled game number 2. This time it's LNG starting off the Rift Herald in the top side of the map. In the meantime, iBoy going to trade it for plates in the bot side.
This is very reminiscent to game 1, where we saw the exact same thing happen. LNG went for that Rift Herald. Vici saying, we don't care. We're going to get our plate gold onto our Kai'Sa right now. That's what's more important. You can use the Herald, and we will try to counter that play later.
Yeah, and you can see Azura very clearly telegraphing that they don't want to fight right now, using the ultimate just to clear the mid wave so he can get a reset, get back to base, but showing that skirmishing, it's not on the cards right now for LNG. They're looking to scale up.
Also, no objective on the map for you to necessarily take right now. We don't have any Ocean Drakes. We want to see how they will use this Herald to kind of create tempo on the map. You have 2 options on where you can use it. You can put it onto Maple or Asura. You're not really going to want to get the plate gold onto the Mordekaiser against the Ornn. Just kind of leave those 2 up there on their island and find your advantages elsewhere. I'd especially like to see it onto Maple, because if you can burst iBoy or Forge down before the Taric ult comes out, that'll be massive in these fights.
That's one of the big weaknesses of Taric, is if you play too heavily around that Cosmic Radiance, it does take quite a while to come into play. We've seen it lots of times in the past where the Cosmic Radiance comes through, but it's too little too late.
And this is also why Syndra is such a favorite pick over in other regions like LEC. You just have such a strong lane presence and great burst. Even if you miss all your other abilities, that ultimate hitting so hard, again, should be able to just easily take iBoy out of a fight.
And iBoy really has to be one of the big focuses if you're looking towards the side of Vici Gaming, because he's been inconsistent as of late. Some games he's looked amazing. Game number 2 in this series, he looked great on the Kai'Sa. Fantastic killer instincts. Clearly knew his limits, knew when he could go in and finish a target off. But we've seen consistent late game mispositioning coming out from him. He's getting caught out in very crucial moments in a game, and that can lead to losses.
We do see XX heading towards the mid lane, maybe signaling he wanted to put down that Rift Herald. So Forge using the TP, dissuading that play, and kind of keeping Vici's presence on the map known.
Well, Dragon going to be spawning. It's the second one, and it will be the Ocean.
And we do have the Hextech GLP now out for Forge, kind of setting up for that Dragon.
Huge power spike for the side of Forge. Will just miss it entirely, though. So, not so huge of a power spike anymore. Here we go. Hung finds a stun onto the likes of XX. Flash forward from Flandre. He's going to 1v1 onto Hung. Cosmic Radiance keeps him alive. Outside of the fight, though, XX is taken down. Ike's with a double kill. This Olaf is massive. Pop Blossom to keep Flandre in place. And that's going to be another one for iBoy. 3 kills for Vici. And a Dragon is their reward.
Vici just have so many tools how to play these fights. We already set up that it is very much up to Dwan and Maple finding good layering of CC with their skill shots to set up the damage of Syndra, to set up the damage from Misfortune. Didn't come through. Vici started the fight too fast. Looks like they surprised LNG, and they come out on top.
And as you mentioned before there, Hextech GLP, a big power spike, not just in terms of the active though, in terms of the extra damage that's going to come on through from finishing a tier 3. And you saw the Pop Blossom coming through from Forge keeps Flandre locked down.
And here we just see Hung walking forward, hitting that stun, and keep your eyes on Dwan. It's all about if he can hit the ultimate on Bard, keep the members of Vici in check. He's not able to do that, only zones out iBoy. The rest of Vici are able to run in. Ikes gets in there, and we see Flandre just kind of left on his lonesome in the backline. Good Pop Blossom coming out from Forge, and they finish off the kill.
And the Fate's call from iBoy as soon as Hung is out of the Death Realm. Asura caught out here. We do see the Rift Herald dropped from the side of LNG. Dwan getting all of the gold for that one.
Not how you'd want your Rift Herald gold to go.
Hey, it's better than no one getting the gold.
Is it?
If you're the Bard player, you're going to be happy about that.
This game is very similar to Game 1 in my eyes, like kind of walking back to the game with win conditions. But I feel like LNG drafted a much harder to execute comp. It also feels like Trundle just fits into this comp very awkwardly where, again, you have some pick elements in Syndra and Bard. You have some team fighting in the Misfortune. Kind of this pseudo two champions that remove players from the fight with Trundle's Subjugate and, of course, the Death Realm coming out from Flandre. So they fit very awkwardly together.
Looking to maybe force kind of a 4v3, as it were, with the Subjugate weakening someone and Flandre just going off on a 1v1 elsewhere. But obviously, Maple can certainly capitalize on a situation like that if he does use the ultimate. So if the composition doesn't feel like it's really working, what is the game plan then for LNG? How do they make a composition like this work?
We talked about it's about finding ways to get tempo, which should be, let's say, send Trundle, Misfortune, Bard to one lane, push out, move with Bard and Trundle somewhere else, use that Bard ultimate to catch someone out, sets up your CC well for Scatter of the Week into an ultimate, and again, look for tempo plays with numbers advantage. Again, that's all about what the Bardy's about.
So it's about, hey, our composition doesn't look that great in a 5v5, so we're just never going to 5v5 you. We'll just find the split out fights instead.
All about moving around the map, right? And things like the Mordekaiser will do well in the side lane against the Ornn. Syndra, of course, having much more pressure against the Nico, but with Nico picking up things like the Hextech GLP will be very hard for Maple to kind of get on top of her. So it really is up to Dwan.
And it's something that I know you've said a lot in the past is when it comes to the LPL, often it's a lot about ease of execution. Oh no, big catch onto Hung. Fate's call though keeps him safe. There's a lot of immunity for the side of this Taric, but that's going to be tempered Fate. Cosmic Radiance keeps iBoy safe for now. But a lot of damage from LNG will force Vici away from the play.
And the Tempered Fate is the most important thing for LNG. With that being down now, they won't be able to do much, but still, they did chunk key members of Vici down low, so Vici are just going to once again say, hey, we don't need to contest for this Herald.
iBoy, the biggest benefactor from the turret plates there. You can see 480 gold going his way. Certainly important on the likes of a Kalista. You'll spike incredibly hard when you get to that 2-item point in the game. Already has the Blade of the Rune King for himself, and he's looking to finish this tower off in the bottom lane.
Vici just putting more gold on the iBoy. They are going to have to react to this play topside coming out from LNG, though. Ooh, doesn't look like XX is going to opt into using the Herald. Just going to take this one turret for free. And again, we're probably just going to have to wait until next Dragon, where for the side of Vici, group up as 5, get pressure together through mid lane. On the side of LNG, it's a lot more about setting up your side lanes, especially for FLICKR maybe to get in first.
Watching Kalista CS is so satisfying. When she stacks all of the Rens onto everything, throws the Pierce through Rens at the same time, and you just watch everything get obliterated. So, I don't know, man. Something about that just feels good to watch.
I agree. It is one of those things like, what's the other one for me? The Jax auto. There's just some things in League of Legends that just are very...
Did you see the lo-fi beats to Jax hitting a turret?
No. That sounds like something I want to see, though.
There was a remix that happened. They were talking about it on LEC, Quickshot and Yamato Cannon. They were talking about how satisfying the Jax sound is. Somebody made a lo-fi beats. If you take a look on Twitter, I think Quickshot was tweeting about it. So such a great little video. And you're right, it is so damn satisfying. XX finds a turret, finds a pillar.
Two key things to watch on the side of LNG are the Tempered Fate from Dwan and the Death Realm coming out from FLICKR. In a pure 5v5, if Vici can get on top of you with the Olaf, with the Nico, they should come out ahead. Positioning
in the mid lane for LNG, though. Tempered Fate onto the likes of iBoy. FLICKR stunned up, and he's not that tanky just yet. Gonna find the 1v1 onto Hung. Needs some support from his squad, though. He's been completely abandoned here. Flashes over to the team, but the pull not quite going to be enough. Cube on the front line, exhausted. Can't quite get away. Will flash in the end. And all of that just for a singular kill onto FLICKR. We keep setting up that it's all about these Tempered Fates. Dwan is not fighting them successfully. The team is not able to follow up. FLICKR thinking he can follow up, goes a bit too deep. Looks like maybe he'll be able to get out, but still ends up with Vici picking up a kill, and now once again getting the soul point, this time with an Infernal Soul. iBoy has to use his QSS right there because he got stunned up by the side of Maple. Maple's ultimate still available on this Syndra. The Unleashed Power, very capable of finishing off an AD carry. So nice early pickup from iBoy on the QSS, and we've seen iBoy very respectful of FLICKR's Mordekaiser. We saw it in game number 1, we're seeing it again. The early QSS is so crucial. I thought you were saying we saw him be respectful in game number 1. I was going to say, well, I'm not sure if that's the way I would have described it. Respectful of only Mordekaiser. Unfortunately, not the rest of the squad. Dear me. Well, you can see everyone going to reset here, but importantly, just 18 minutes into the game, Vici have themselves 3 Drakes to work with. They're on Soul Point, and as we mentioned before, it's one of those super useful souls. The Infernal Soul will add so much damage. And when you've got Ikes already flashing into the backline to one-shot people, an Infernal Soul is not what you want this Olaf to have. True, and it was very interesting to see just Vici continuously give up these Rift Heralds saying, hey, we're going to start snowballing these dragons. We know you have no real way of contesting when it comes to the mid and late game. And if we're looking at the side of LNG, gold might be even, but I think the situation is a lot more dire than that when we keep setting up that they really need to kind of chain their CC together, burst someone down, and then win through a numbers advantage. They haven't been able to do that. We haven't seen the Tempered Fates come out from Dwan really well. We haven't seen Maple able to find an impact in this fight, and it's really left FLICKR as the lone frontline kind of left to dry. Ooh, Cube gets denied though by the pillar. He's going to be 1 versus 3. Denied his Call of the Forge God as well. Cube just completely shut out. In the meantime though, there is an answer from the side of Vici Gaming, because Forge and Ikes, they're going to be like, look, you want a tier 1 in the bot lane? Okay, we'll play for tempo. We'll take a tier 2 in the top. Still on the side of LNG, you do end up with a kill and will get 1 tower yourself, so you're coming out slightly ahead. When you're the team behind, trading is always nice. I don't know if that counts as a head, because they're still only just finishing that tier 1 turret. Is it worth a tier 2? I mean, you tell me.
But we look at the side of Vici's comp. It's not like there's some kind of like split pushing side lane comp where they benefit from a long lane. Of course, getting that gold is nice. Just in that particular exchange, LNG came out slightly ahead. But
Nice.
of course, when we look at comps in these mid-late game skirmishes, we've talked about it's much easier for Vici to execute. We do favor them still.
All right. Let's go, LNG. Finding a trade. Looking for another one as well. Good damage coming out from Maple. Forces the Ragnarok, and that's going to be a big cooldown for the side of Vici Gaming. But there's not much that LNG can do with that window that they've just found for themselves.
Wasn't even really much of a window. Again, we're still going to look towards these big objectives. And it's going to be all about when you have things like the Misfortune, how does it pan out with these bullet times, right?
Well, Ike so far has been the one denying these bullet times, as in the recent fights, it's just been him charging straight into the backline of LNG with the Cosmic Radiance on top of him. See if he can replicate that. Also, the Call of the Forge God, you've always got to look out for it. That's one thing as well that the Bard can offer. Call of the Forge God comes through. If you can get the Tempered Fate onto the likes of the Ornn, you can deny him getting the knockup.
That's true. You can deny it with the Tempered Fate. You can deny it with the Death Realm. So you have a lot of ways to deny the Ornn. You just don't have a lot of ways to deny the other members of Vici getting on top of you. Especially when we talked about this Neeko. Neeko goes for the Glacial Augment in this build because she has a hard time of setting herself up for her ultimate. So not only are you setting yourself up for your ultimate, but you're setting up your whole team by getting these layered slows and that freeze ray coming out from the rune. Even more so letting your team get on top of LNG.
You can see the Colonel very heavily favoring this Neeko. The Twin Shadows has been completed as well. So extra pick potential from the side of Vici. And also importantly, if that Twin Shadows lands and Ike's is nearby, he's just going to sprint at someone and run them down.
Ike's right now so strong with that Black Cleaver also in his inventory. We just see across the board 2 items on the side of Vici where
Underscore out, but a bit of fancy footwork means he's going to be pretty fine in this one. No commitment to the play, obviously, from LNG because the whole of Vici Gaming are here. 10 seconds until the Infernal Drake. This would be a soul for the side of Vici.
and just look at all the vision denial that Vici are putting up.
Oh, knock up onto Maple. That's huge. Pop Blossom doesn't land, though. Maple gonna die. No, walks away from the Call of the Forge God. Ignite will not finish him off. No kills come through. Cosmic Radiance keeping everyone safe. Sura can't do too much with the bullet time on the backside of the fight. But even if they don't get a kill, maybe they can still get the dragon.
Ooh, we have a TP coming in from Maple.
Maple wants this one. Flandre gets onto the likes of Ike's. This could be the steal. But no, iBoy gets it anyway. Infernal Soul is massive. Flandre gets one for himself, but answers with his life by the looks of things. Fate's called to keep Hunk alive. iBoy's alone, though. No support from his squad. Now Forge coming on in. This is going to be a fight going the way of LNG. Vici get the soul, but it costs them their lives.
LNG somehow coming out ahead. I'm not even too entirely sure myself how they did it. Vici are the ones with Infernal Soul, which the bright side for Vici is that will stick with you the whole game. But on the side of LNG, you're winning a fight you probably shouldn't have, and you're going to be the one able to pick up the Baron.
I'm having flashbacks to game 1 right now because LNG, they won off of a dragon fight and then snowballing to victory. Cube teleports to contest this Baron play coming out from the side of LNG. He's 1v3 right now. But the Baron's going to do a lot of damage to this LNG squad. Cube threatening, has the Infernal Soul to do a lot of damage as well. XX steals his tanky stats. Flandre is here. Death Realm not available. Teleport now channeled, but the Baron has already gone down. Maple denies the Searing Charge. Pop Blossom onto Asura. That's going to be a kill onto the AD carry. Flandre can't get the counter kill onto Forge because of Zhonya's, and Forge will run away with his life. Nice kill coming out from Ike's. They lose the Baron, but Vici answer the play.
It was so confusing what Cube was doing at first, but it all comes together in the end with Forge TPing in, getting a great Pop Blossom, and being able to pick up 2 kills. Now you should be able to take these next 2, maybe mid-turrets, very easily, despite LNG having Baron.
This Baron needs to pay off huge for the side of LNG for this to be worth it, because the tier 2 now in jeopardy as well. iBoy will be able to blast through the health bar with the help of his team. Ike's has the Ragnarok. Cosmic Radiance not going to be available, though.
So Vici will still come out with 3 Barons on the map, which is still a net positive to kind of the game state if we think back to 5 minutes ago. Ooh, and here we get to see Flandre jumping in. Oh, pulling Ikes into the death realm, but still you have a Kalista on your team able to pull that through. Ornn being forced to flash out, Flandre finishing off Ikes, and he was one of the big members on their team. We just see him survive so long, and Asura flashing in not even flashing in, just running in so aggressively, dealing so much damage on this Misfortune, and they come out ahead.
And iBoy just caught at the back of the pit. He's attacking Flandre the whole time, and so Maple able to kind of finish him off alongside the likes of Asura. Now with this Baron buff. Still looking to just get through the tier 1 in the mid lane though. Not an ideal situation when you're trying to siege with a Baron.
We do see Flandre pushing out the bot lane though. He should be able to make his way towards mid, and they could try to put up some more pressure through that. And on the side of Vici, I feel like you just wait out this Baron, let all of your ults come back up. Actually, all of their ults are already up, and just look for another engage.
Hung has gone for flash engages in the past, but flash will be on cooldown for him right now. Cube is over towards the bot side, does not have the teleport, so they need to be careful on how hard they commit to a play right now.
And this is what we talked about for the side of LNG. Push out your lanes, create a numbers advantage, pressure together. Now that they're ahead and they control the minion wave, they'll be able to start trying to poke out Vici with the Misfortune, with the Syndra. But when you're against the Taric,
yeah,
it's pretty hard.
There's a good amount of sustain there from the side of Hung. But also importantly, it's difficult to get that poke in when this squad offers so much potential hard engage. If Cube is nearby, the Call of the Forge God, it's a very long range engage, and you know that the rest of Vici are going to be willing to follow up on it.
We've already seen it done numerous times that when Cube is around, heck, even when Cube's not around, we've seen Forge flashing aggressively many times with this Nico. Vici have been very bloodthirsty looking for these fights.
Now Baron has run out. But as you mentioned earlier on in the game, we're still wanting to see this kind of split push style almost, where we need to see LNG spreading Vici out, getting them separated so they can't find this perfect team fight. But it becomes more and more difficult to achieve that, especially with teleports unavailable, because like we just said, there is a lot of hard engage from the side of Vici. If you get caught out, you're going to be doomed.
Yeah, it's going to be very hard for LNG to pull this off. We've already talked about the kind of burden on execution on their comp numerous times, because it's not even necessarily a comp that in isolation wants to play through side lanes. Just in these straight 5v5s, it's very hard against what Vici have drafted.
Elder Dragon is going to be spawning in a minute. And that is very much the win condition from the side of Vici.
And iBoy picking up that Mercurial Scimitar, kind of making it efficient. It's so hard to pronounce.
Mercurial Scimitar.
Hey, I did my best.
No, it was a valiant attempt. I'm just letting you know for next time.
Thanks, friend.
That's
but
okay,
still
buddy.
Making a good, efficient use of his gold. He did already have the QSS, did also have the Vampiric Scepter. Just throwing it together, getting a bit more stats quickly, knowing the Elder Drake fight was coming up soon.
I'm going to take a bit of damage there, but a lot of sustain available from the side of that Taric. Flandre off in the wings. He's going to look for Hung. Does get the Death's Grasp, but won't commit to the Death Realm just yet. Keep going to be clearing the vision. The area control very much in favor of Vici still. LNG looking for a pick.
And we've seen this constantly where Vici get the push on mid first because they're already grouped up as 5, control vision, and making it hard for LNG to walk into the river.
Slows coming on through. Forge with the shapeshifter. Flandre forced to flash off on the backside of the fight.
Cube.
Cube as well. The top laners being pushed away from the fight. Ike's going to find the undertow, going to slow people down. Maple feeling a little vulnerable on half of his HP, but still has flash available. But all that's gained here from the side of Vici is pressure on this Elder Dragon. You can't just threaten mid here. Oh no, iBoy might be caught out again. No, he's going to be okay. Flandre's the one caught out. Forge moves over to the rest of the squad as Flandre finished off by Ike's. That is a massive pick for the side of Vici. Maple's got to go huge in this fight if they want to win anything right now. Cube's going to go in. Pop Blossom from Forge doesn't land, but it doesn't matter because Maple's down anyway. Cosmic Radiance keeps everyone alive as XX flees on the bottom side of the fight. Azura on the top, and Duan has nothing he can do about this.
Starting off with both teams just posturing so aggressively, it did end up to where LNG got kind of separated on two sides. Flandre was still trying to threaten a flank, but we talked about that vision denial coming out from Vici, making it very hard for LNG to approach, picking off Flandre, and then you're left in a 5v4 yourself. And we've already talked about so many times that it's so hard for Dwan to set up this play with his ultimate, and then you have no front line.
And look, we said that we wanted to see LNG separated around the map. That wasn't the kind of separated that we were talking about. We were talking about different lanes. Now on towards the Baron. There's no way LNG can contest this with the Elder buff in hand. Vici Gaming, they're looking at a potential 2-1 right now. LNG, what have they got left? What is the miracle play that they need?
LNG at this point really need to rely on Vici making a mistake. We've seen how hard it is when Vici are grouped up as 5 for you to threaten anything on the side of LNG. You can't force side lanes anymore and try and pull them apart. They have Infernal Soul, they have Elder Drake, they have Baron. But just kind of stepping away, we see here Flandre getting picked off. This is all from the vision denial we talked about coming from Vici. He had to be more patient, walk through mid lane, and now Vici just know, hey, there isn't a lot of threat. Their only front line now is this Trundle, who isn't very tanky himself. We just see iBoy throwing Hung In, getting a good engage. Ike's running forward one way. They already took down Maple, and just very easy for them to clean up.
Here we go, barreling down the mid lane. This is iBoy's biggest weakness, having every advantage in your favor. This is where he tends to fall.
And we talked, LNG's really only win condition at this point is Vici making a misstep and you getting a pick.
Bullet time comes on through. The minion wave is going to be denied. Asura knocked on up, but they can't quite follow up for the kill just yet. Cosmic Radiance keeps everyone alive, but Vici are low on this one, and Cube could be in trouble. Tempered Fate keeps people stopped right now. Hunk stunned up. Cube's still alive, and he's traded for Flandre in the end. Pop Blossom onto no one, but a 1-for-1 is enough to take this mid lane inhibitor.
Vici just being so far ahead right now, having so much sustained damage. They, of course, have the Infernal Soul being able to explode members of LNG down. We've already seen so many ultimates wasted on the side of LNG. Vici can just keep pressuring freely.
Vici want to finish this one off. It's going to be iBoy on the Callista. You've got to keep your eyes on him. Forge's ultimate, the Pop Blossom, going to be on cooldown. Bear in mind, Fate's Call still available, so Hung can be thrown into the enemy team. Here we go, Tangle Bombs onto 2, Asura taken down, Maple will go as well. That's a double, let's make it a triple for the side of iBoy. I was criticizing him, but he comes up huge, and it's a 2-1 in the end in favor of Vici Gaming.
I like what Vici